On November 3rd, 1967, a fire prevention inspector arrived at Tower 4 in Idaho's Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness for a routine end-of-season check. Inspector James Hartley expected to find Ranger Marcus Wheeler, who had been stationed at the remote lookout since May 1967. Instead, he discovered the tower abandoned, its door swinging open in the wind. Wheeler's personal effects remained untouched. Coffee still in his mug, jacket hung on its hook, boots placed neatly by the bed. What Hartley found next would lead to the immediate decommissioning of Tower 4 and the sealing of all Forest Service records related to the incident for 50 years. Hidden throughout the tower were dozens of diary entries carved into walls, scratched onto glass, and stuffed into every conceivable space. Not just Wheeler's entries, but identical diaries from at least 17 different rangers, all claiming to be named Wheeler, all describing the same escalating events, some dated as far back as 1951 when the tower was supposedly first built. The only one found intact. The Forest Service maintains that Marcus Wheeler simply abandoned his post due to altitude sickness and isolation psychosis. They cannot explain why no record exists of his supervisor, Thompson, why Tower 4 appears in no official construction records before 1968, or why satellite imagery shows the tower appearing and disappearing from the same coordinates across multiple decades. These are the entries from the final diary. Entry 1. Finally made it up to Tower 4 after that brutal 8-hour hike. The last 2 miles were straight uphill, switchback after switchback. But my God, the view from up here is worth every blister. I can see for what must be 50 miles in every direction, nothing but pines and peaks stretching to the horizon. Thompson was right when he sold me on this posting. 6 months of peace and quiet, Wheeler, he said. Just you, the mountains, and the occasional fire to spot. After what you've been through, it'll be like meditation. He's not wrong. After the divorce, after losing the house, after everything that happened in Portland, this is exactly what I need. The tower itself is in better shape than I expected for something built in 1951. It's a square room, 14 by 14 feet, perched on a 40-foot steel frame that sways slightly in the wind. Windows on all 4 sides, a narrow bed, a wood stove, a desk with the radio equipment and basic supplies. Someone even left a deck of cards and a few paperback novels. The previous ranger, I guess. Radio check went fine, though Thompson sounds tinnier than usual through the equipment. He assures me that's normal at this elevation. Something about atmospheric pressure and signal bounce. He reminded me 3 times to take the vitamin supplements in the medical kit. The isolation can do funny things to your body chemistry, he said. The last ranger got pretty run down by the end of the season. Stopped making sense in his reports. Don't want that happening to you. Found some scratches on the doorframe when I was settling in. Deep ones, like from a bear. Thompson laughed when I mentioned it. They get curious sometimes, but they rarely climb all the way up. You're safe as houses up there, Wheeler. The silence is already getting to me a little. In Portland, there was always something. Cars, planes, neighbors fighting. Here, when the wind dies down, it's so quiet I can hear my own heartbeat. I can hear myself think. Maybe that's what I'm afraid of. Entry 2. First full day of observations. This is what I'm supposed to log. Wind speed and direction. Northwest at 10 miles per hour. Humidity 42%. Visibility clear for 50 plus miles. And any signs of smoke or fire. Spotted some grey smoke to the northeast around noon, but it turned out to be mist burning off Lake Margaret. Better safe than sorry. That's what they pay me for. Strange thing happened this morning. I could have sworn I left my coffee mug on the table by the north window where I was doing observations, but found it on the shelf by the door. The coffee was still warm. I must be more tired from the hike up than I thought. Or maybe the altitude is getting to me. Tower sits at 8,500 feet. Started reading one of the paperbacks the last ranger left. Some Western novel. There's notes in the margins, but the handwriting is so cramped I can barely make it out. Something about they come at night and don't trust. Probably referring to the plot. The quiet isn't so bad when you get used to it. Kind of peaceful, actually. Entry 3. Woke up around 3 a.m. to use the outhouse. Took my flashlight and sidearm. Thompson insisted on the gun. For wildlife, he said. When I got back, there were footprints in the mud around the tower's base. Big boots, size 11 or 12. They circled the tower twice, then headed north into the tree line. The prints were fresh, the edges still sharp in the mud. Probably just a hiker who got turned around. Who hikes at 3 a.m.? Reported it to Thompson during our morning check-in, but the static was so bad, I'm not sure he heard me clearly. He just kept repeating something about vitamins and stay hydrated. When I tried to ask about the footprints again, the connection cut out entirely. The footprints were gone by noon. Rain must have washed them away, though I don't remember it raining. Entry 4. The footprints are back. Same size, same pattern. 2 complete circles around the tower, then straight north. But here's the thing. It definitely rained yesterday afternoon. I watched it rain. I listened to it on the metal roof for 2 hours. These prints are fresh. Someone was here last night while I slept. Finally got through to Thompson. He says it's probably just the supply guys scouting the route, getting familiar with the trail for the drop next week. But when I asked why he'd come at night, Thompson went quiet for a long moment. Then he said I must have miscounted the days. Said the supply drop already happened. Said I signed for it. I've been here 4 days. I've been marking them on the calendar. 4 days. The supply drop is in 10 days. I have the schedule right here. Thompson says I've been here 2 weeks. One of us is wrong. I'm looking at the calendar right now. 4 marks, 4 days. Unless I stop marking them. Entry 5. Found my binoculars on the east window ledge when I distinctly remember, leaving them on the west side where I was watching the sunset. The focusing dial was adjusted too, set to a much shorter distance, like someone was using them to look at something close, something right outside, or someone was inside, looking out. Tried to radio Thompson but got someone else, a woman. Said she was covering Thompson's shift. In 6 years of working for the Forest Service, I've never heard of Thompson having shifts, or anyone covering for him. This woman knew my name though, knew about the footprints, knew about the binoculars, though I hadn't mentioned them yet. She told me not to worry, said they're sending someone to check. Help is coming, she said. Just stay in the tower, lock the door, take your vitamins. I checked the vitamin bottle. I've been taking them every day, but it's still full. Entry 6. No one came. Sat on the catwalk all day watching the trail. No one came. Thompson called in the evening. Said he never sent anyone. Said there is no woman who covers his shifts. Said he's the only one with access to this frequency. Who have you been talking to, Wheeler? I don't know. Entry 7. Radio's been acting up all night, picking up broadcasts that shouldn't exist. Not on this frequency, not at this distance. Music that sounds like it's from the 1940s, all crackling and warped. Voices speaking backwards. At one point, I heard what sounded like a weather report. but it was for dates that haven't happened yet. July 19th would be clear with a high of 82. It's only May 10th. No, wait. I just checked the calendar. It's May 18th. When did I lose 8 days? The footprints have changed their pattern. They don't circle anymore. They come straight from the tree line to the tower's base and stop, right below my window, right where someone would stand to look up. I found handprints on the glass this morning. On the outside, we're 40 feet up. Entry 8. Something happened to the previous ranger's books. The margins that were full of notes are blank now. I know they had writing in them. I spent an hour reading those notes on entry 2. Now there's nothing. The pages are clean. No, wait. There's one note left in the back cover of the Western. Stop taking the vitamins. Thompson called while I was reading it. Asked if I was taking my vitamins. I told him yes. He asked to hear me take one. I pretended to swallow one. He said good. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. How's Sarah doing? I don't know anyone named Sarah. Entry 12. I'm missing entries. The last thing I remember writing was entry 8, but I found entry 9, 10, and 11 in the stove this morning, partially burned. They're in my handwriting, but I don't remember writing them. Entry 9 describes a man in the trees, watching the tower through binoculars. I can see him from the south window, it says. He's been there for 3 days. Entry 10 says the radio told me to stop taking the vitamins. Says Thompson isn't Thompson. Says the real Thompson died in 1963. Entry 11 is just the word Sarah written over and over again, filling 3 pages. The handwriting gets progressively worse, more frantic. I still don't know anyone named Sarah. There's a man in the trees to the south. He's watching me through binoculars. He's been there for 3 days. Wait, how would I know he's been there for 3 days if I just noticed him? Entry 13. Thompson called. Finally, a clear connection for once. But his voice sounds different. Deeper, slower, like he's talking through syrup. He says I've only been up here a week. My calendar says 3 weeks. He says I'm imagining things. Says I'm not taking my vitamins. The bottle is empty. When did it become empty? It was full yesterday. He says no one else has my radio frequency. Says the woman doesn't exist. Says I've been talking to myself, but I have her in the log. 2:15 p.m. May 9th, female voice, identified herself as covering Thompson's shift. Thompson says it's May 3rd. My calendar says May 20th. The radio log says June. Entry 14. Woke up outside on the observation deck at 4 a.m. The door was locked from the inside. How did I get out? Why don't I remember? My hands are covered in scratches. There's dirt under my fingernails. My bare feet are caked in mud. I don't remember going outside. I don't remember walking anywhere. The footprints around the tower aren't boots anymore. They're bare feet, the same size as mine. They circle the tower 17 times. 17. I counted. They go up to the door, then somehow appear on the other side without the door opening. Or I opened it and forgot. Thompson says I need to increase my vitamin dosage. The bottle is full again. Entry 15. He knows about Sarah. Thompson asked how Sarah was doing, asked if she was being a good dog. Sarah was my childhood dog, a golden retriever. She died when I was 7. Buried her in the backyard myself, wrapped in my favorite blanket. I never told Thompson about Sarah. I never told anyone up here about Sarah. He says I did. Says I talk about her all the time during our calls. Says I mentioned she's been keeping me company. Says I told him she's up here with me. I haven't mentioned her. I know I haven't. I would remember. There are dog tracks in the mud now, next to the footprints. Entry 16. The man in the trees is closer. I can see his face through the binoculars. It's my face. He's wearing my clothes, the ones I wore hiking up here, the ones that should be in my pack. The pack is empty. Thompson says there's no man in the trees. Thompson says I'm alone up here. Thompson says I've always been alone. The radio works without power now. I unplugged it 3 days ago, but Thompson still calls every morning at 9:15. Take your vitamins, Wheeler. Check the weather, Wheeler. How's Sarah? Sarah's good. She's right here. Such a good dog. Entry 19. Missing entries again. The radio log shows I've made 17 calls this week. I only remember 5. Thompson says I've only made 5, but also says I've made 32. He contradicts himself in the same sentence and doesn't seem to notice. Something's scratching at the walls every night now. 40 feet up. It starts at exactly 2:17 a.m. and continues until dawn. Not random scratching. Patterns, like Morse code, like writing. Thompson says it's birds. Birds don't scratch like that. Birds don't breathe like that. I can hear it breathing between the scratches. I've started scratching back. Entry 20. Found supplies in the storage room that weren't there before. Fresh cans of food, new batteries, medical supplies. All dated November 1967. It's May. These are dated 6 months in the future. Thompson says the supply drop came yesterday. Says I signed for it. The signature on the log isn't mine. It's close, but it's not mine. The name signed is S. Wheeler. My name is Marcus, not S. Unless S is for Sarah. Entry 21. I'm not alone up here. I've never been alone up here. The previous ranger is still here. All the previous rangers are still here. I found them in the walls. No, that's not right. I found their writing in the walls, under the paneling. Decades of entries carved into the wood. Thompson isn't real. 1963. The tower doesn't exist. 1959. We're not watching for fires. 1971. Sarah knows the truth. Every single year. Thompson called while I was reading them. Called on the radio I destroyed yesterday. Called through the walls. Called from inside my own throat. How's the weather, Wheeler? How's Sarah, Wheeler? How are you, Wheeler? I'm not Wheeler. Entry 22. The scratching has moved inside. It's in the walls, in the ceiling, under the floor. It spells out words, the same words over and over. Take your vitamins. Trust Thompson. Sarah is coming. I found the previous ranger's diary hidden under a loose floorboard. His entries are identical to mine. Word for word. Date for date. His name was also Wheeler. His dog was also named Sarah. I found 17 more diaries. All Wheeler. All with dogs named Sarah. All with the same entries. All ending the same way. We're not different rangers. We're the same ranger. We've always been the same ranger. Entry, number missing. Day and night are blending. The sun sets in the north now, rises in the south. Sometimes doesn't set at all. Sometimes it's been dark for weeks. Thompson calls constantly, every minute, every hour. Sometimes mid-sentence while he's already talking. He overlaps himself. He argues with himself. He tells me to come down. He tells me to stay up. He tells me both simultaneously. The man in the trees is in the tower now. He sits in my chair, writes my entries, takes my vitamins. He's better at being Wheeler than I am. I'm in the trees now, watching him through binoculars, waiting for my turn to come back. Entry scratched out. Found the truth in the floorboards. This isn't a fire tower. It was never a fire tower. It's a feeding station. We're not watching for fires. We're the kindling. We're what burns when they get hungry. The vitamins aren't vitamins. They're markers. They mark us, make us visible to them, make us ready. Thompson isn't a person. Thompson is the process. Thompson is what happens to rangers who stay too long. Thompson is what I'm becoming. Sarah wasn't my dog. Sarah is the name of the thing that lives in Tower 4. She's been here since 1951. She names all her pets Sarah. We're all Sarah's dogs now. Good dog, Wheeler. Good dog. Entry eligible. The walls are gone. The tower is gone. But I'm still here. Still 40 feet up. Still watching for fires that will never come. The new ranger arrived today. I watched him hike up. Watched him find my footprints. Watched him settle in. He looks just like me. Exactly like me. He is me. From before. From the first day. Time is a circle up here. We're not stationed for 6 months. We're stationed forever. Living the same 6 months. May to November. Over and over. I tried to warn him. Left notes in the books. Carved messages in the walls. But they disappear. They always disappear. Sarah doesn't like us to remember. Final entry. I understand now. There was never a Wheeler. Never a Thompson. Never a Forest Service. There's only Tower 4 and Sarah, and the things that pretend to be rangers. I'm not lost. I'm not insane. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. In the walls, in the trees, in the static on the radio. The new Wheeler is taking his vitamins. Good. Sarah is hungry. Sarah has been hungry since 1951. I left him a note in the Western novel. Stop taking the vitamins. He'll find it on entry 2. He always does. We always do. Final note found carved into the tower's support beam. Tower 4 needs a ranger. 6 months of peace and quiet. Just you, the mountains, and the occasional fire to spot. Ask for Thompson. Thompson is always hiring. Sarah is always hungry. And we are always watching.